Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. I'm Peter. I have had this FX DRS Tactical for quite a while now, so now it's time to ask the question and hopefully answer it in this video. Will it shoot slugs? A very important question to ask when you want to shoot slugs is what is the setup of your barrel? How long is your barrel and what kind of liner do you have installed? I have a 500mm STX Superior Liner in mind, and that tells me a few things. First up, the Superior Liner tells me that this liner will shoot both pellets and lighter slugs, and because it's a relatively short barrel, the 500mm, it tells me that I shouldn't push the weight of the slug too much. So I've decided to go for the 13.43 grain JSB knockouts in this test. When starting to shoot a new type of ammunition, it's of course very important to get the tune right. I've already made a video on how to tune your DRS, so I'm not gonna go too much into the tuning process in this video. I started out shooting the knockouts at around 860 feet per second and then worked my way up until where I'm at right now, somewhere in the 900 and mid-50s. I would like to see a velocity around at least 970 feet per second, but because once I have increased the pressure on the regulator, the velocity hasn't really gone up that much, so I think I need to do something else, but we'll get into that later. Right now I'll just show you a couple of groups with the results that I've gotten so far, and these are the best results within this whole velocity range, starting at 860 and all the way up to somewhere in the 950s. So join me for a few groups here at 34 meters. Well, honestly, not so bad, but this is about what I've been experiencing when trying to tune the gun. Spread is around 9, and as you can see, the average velocity was just around 953 feet per second. But I want to do something else in order to get the regulator down and get a gun that's a bit more harmonic. And to be honest, I think that the accuracy of the gun can be quite a bit better. So let's do something special. And when I say something special, I mean turning to HUMA-AIR. I have used parts from HUMA-AIR like forever, and of course I'm gonna use their parts in this one as well. So Huma kindly sent me a tuning kit consisting of a dual hole transfer port. I've said this so many times here on my channel, but I've used it in almost all my guns, or not almost all my guns. I've had these dual hole transfer ports from Huma. So I'll be installing this one, and I'll be installing the pin probe. The probe in the gun right now is a pellet probe, and you can see here the difference between the two probes. In the tuning kit, there's also two additional hammer weights. There is this one, and I think it's 13.5 gram, and this one, and I think that's just short of 15 grams. And the one standard in the gun is 12.9 grams. So it gives the hammer a bit more power if you need it, but it can also give it a bit more consistency. I'm not gonna install a new hammer just yet until I see how the gun works. So yeah, maybe. Last one is a tuning spring, also to give it some more power. But the ones that I'll be installing right now are the dual hole transfer port and the pin probe. Of course, this means taking my gun apart, and I'll be moving the this top rail to get access to the barrel and to remove the barrel. So let's get started. Next up is the bipod. And now the top rail. And before moving on, it's of course very important to degas the whole gun, because we will be removing the air cylinder. And now with the entire system degassed, we can remove the air cylinder. But before we do so, it's always a good idea to tighten this screw back up. Now, removing the air cylinder is just a firm grip, and you can take it off like that. And before we take out the barrel, I like to remove the liner. In order to remove the liner, it's actually just loosening 3 screws. And then when you are about to pull out the liner, I like to cock the gun and then gently just twist it nice and easy out, because there are 3 O-rings in there and they are a nightmare to replace. So you want to be very gentle when you remove this. Now it's to remove this, and this requires applying some heat to loosen the Loctite and to clamp it up in a vise. So I'll do that and I'll be right back. And with the new transfer port installed, we can continue. But before you install this back end, it is important to remove the probe, because it has to come out through where the barrel is. And it's actually pretty easy. It's just a 1.5 mil Allen key, but once you've released it, it just pops out. In case that anybody doubts, there's a very dangerous dog in the background. It's my Danish-Swedish farm dog, Bølle, who's watching the grounds. And so, with the probe in place, like that, we can install the barrel. I like to lube it up before installing, not like a lot of grease, but just a thin layer. like that. And once again, when you install it, be very, very gentle, because you don't want to mess up those O-rings. Like that. There. So now, time to mount the liner back in. Jam nut in place. I use this torque screwdriver to get the right torque on the liner nut every time. I have it set to 1.7 Newton meters, like that. So it's well on there. And before we go any further, check out if the probe is seating without any resistance, and it is here. And now I'd like to pressurize the system just to see if it's tight. And just checking if everything is tight. Doesn't sound like there are any leaks. Let's see what this has done to the velocity. Yeah. Okay, the moment of truth to see what this increased airflow has done to the velocity on the DRS Tactical. I haven't shot the gun yet. I haven't even taken a little sneak peek, so I am just as excited as you are. And just want to mention that one of my magazines that I'm using here is from Calm magazine, and this is one especially developed for slugs, and it works really well. So let's see. Chrono on. I hope that it reads. I also placed a camera at the target, not that I expected to have any kind of accuracy, because I expect the gun to be severely out of tune. But anyway, let's see what it says.
53.
Nothing at all so far.
984.
Okay, let's take a few more.
993. 995. 995. 995.
So, what is that? That was 6 shots with an average velocity of 986. There was one low in the beginning. So yeah, the average is probably closer to what I had in the last shots. So around 995 feet per second. So that's just about 40 feet per second increase. And when looking at the target and the group that I shot, I would say that it's pretty good. Of course, it's a bit off because I've been fumbling around with liners and everything, so I need to adjust the scope, of course. But that little group right there, that's pretty good. I wouldn't be surprised to see if this is where I actually end up when I'm done tuning the gun. But anyway, right now I will retune the gun completely to see if I can find a better tune than the one I'm shooting at right now. So for now, just above 40 feet per second increase when you install the dual hole transfer port and the pellet probe from HUMA. Now I'm done with the tuning of the gun and I'm ready to test here at 34 meters to see what it has done to the accuracy. I actually ended up with the regulator at just around the same pressure as before, but with this just past 40 feet per second gain, so still shooting at around 990 feet per second. But during the process it felt like the gun, or at least the hammer, was working very hard, and once I took the gun apart you can see that the tension on the hammer spring was very high, so I decided to swap the standard 12.6 gram hammer weight to this 13.5 gram hammer weight, and it gave the gun so much better harmonics, and it feels like a different gun to shoot. So let's see how it actually performs here at 34 meters. I have actually tested this liner before a long time ago. I tested it in the FX Impact MK2, so do the math and see how long ago that really is. But back then I tested it at 34 meters like I have here today, 75, 100 and 125 meters. So why not measure this DRS Tactical up against an old version of the Impact? So I just want to show you how that test went here at 34 meters. Okay, 5 shots at 34 meters. I don't think that can be shot much better than that. Let's go and take a look. And how about that? That is a serious group to beat, and I can honestly say I am not counting on beating that group here today, but it does show that the 500mm Superior Liner does like the knockouts. So yeah, let's try to shoot a group with the Tactical.
$970. $972. $981. $977. $993.
Beautiful little group there, but it seems like the last shot got away in terms of velocity. But anyway, the group was pretty good, and I don't know if it's matching the group that I shot with the Impact, but it was definitely close. I have now arrived at my beautiful forest range, and I've set up the target at 75 meters or 82 yards. But before we start shooting the DRS Tactical, let's see how the Impact performed at this exact same distance. Okay, 75 meters, top right. that was a decent group. Let's check it out. Now that is a nice group. For the test, I'm using the 13.43 grain JSB knockouts. I couldn't really see two of the shots, but I hope that they're directly in bullseye, but let's check it out. Okay, didn't look that bad, huh? But it does look like there's only 4 shots in the target. But let's check it out. No, one of the holes is actually bigger than the others. So here it is. And the group size is, let's see, 2.2 centimeters, exactly the same as in the Impact, so not bad at all. And now the target is moved to 100 yards, and sadly, yes, you heard me right, it should have been at 109 yards or 100 meters, but because of safety reasons, I can't really shoot at 100 meters at this range, but I think we can compare it in some way anyway. But let's first take a look at how the Impact performed with the same setup as this at 100 meters. Okay, 100 meters. That is a good group. I am really excited to see this group. That is definitely acceptable. Of course, I don't have measuring device here, but I'll measure it when I get back home. 34 millimeters, that was not bad, and taken into consideration that it is a long time ago, and I do believe that my skills or my knowledge about the guns has improved since then. But anyway, 34 millimeters is not bad. So let's see how the DRS Tactical performs. Absolutely beautiful. Absolutely. Let's check it out. Oh, that makes Peter happy. Let's check it out. Beautiful little group there. Let's see. Looks like this. And let me measure it up. It is, let's see. It is a 2.5 centimeter group, so that's just sub MOA, so not bad at all, and even better than the one that I shot with the Impact. So very, very positive for the DRS Tactical with the HUMA-AIR Upgrades. I have to be honest on this one. I did shoot 2 more targets, and I'm not gonna make up excuses about how I messed them up, but somehow I did, and this one that I just showed you was the best one. And now it's time for a conclusion. And let's start out by asking the same question that I asked in the beginning of the video. Will the FX DRS Tactical with a 500mm liner installed shoot slugs? And yes, it definitely will. Second question to answer is, are the upgrades from HUMA necessary? Well, if you're shooting pellets, I wouldn't see it as a 100% necessity, but what it did when I installed it, because I wanted to shoot slugs, it did improve the airflow by quite a margin, and installing the heavier hammer weight did improve the harmonics of the gun. And I wouldn't be surprised to see if the gun right now with these upgrades will shoot some heavier pellets even better than they did before. So I do recommend the upgrade no matter what you're shooting. One thing that I do want to mention is that the first group you saw me shooting in this video at 34 meters without the upgrades, that was by far the best group that I had ever shot with slugs. So I think because this group was so good, it gives a bit of a twisted image of the gain in installing these parts, because after installing the HUMA parts, the gun is just so much more consistent, and the harmonics are so much better, and with that group in the beginning it didn't really come across, so even though I shot a very good group, of course I'm happy to show you that, but yeah, it did twist the image just a little bit. And one last thing, maybe there's somebody out there who actually noticed that when I shot the groups at 34 meters after the upgrades, I did extend the moderator, because my neighbor kind of told me that the gun was very, very loud with this short moderator. So sorry, Carsten, it won't happen again, but I do imagine that it did just a little bit in terms of the accuracy. So me making excuses, blah blah blah. The gun shot very fine at 34 meters anyway, and it shot really well at both 75 meters and 100 yards. So definitely accept it. So with that said, that is the end of a very, very long video. So I hope you enjoyed it, and until next time, take care and shoot safe.